Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone tuning in from around the world to the latest in our summer series. And to those of you who tune in on demand after the event. As I say, welcome to the latest in the Inspiring Workplaces Summer Series. My name's Crispin Manners. I'm chairman of Inspiring Workplaces, and I'm standing in for Matt, who is taking a couple of days off after his wedding at the weekend to his lovely bride, Ivy. So congratulations, Matt and Ivy. On to today's talk. I'm delighted that we're joined today by Sal Gorgueira, who is Head of Learning and Development and Engagement at A2 Dominion. A2 Dominion is a housing company with a social purpose, all about providing a safe and secure place for people that people can call home. Last year, A2 Dominion won the Company of the Year award in the 2019 UK and Europe Employee Engagement Awards, which is now known as the Inspiring Workplaces Awards. And Sal is here today to share the A2 Dominion journey and the reasons behind their success. So without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce you to Sal Gorgueira.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you as well. I've just joined Crispin in congratulating Matt for his wedding. I hope to speak to him soon as well. It's a great pleasure to be sharing with you today our story, our journey. It meant a great deal to us to get the award because it was the perfect bonus for all the efforts that went into connecting with our people, engaging with our people and our business context. So it is with humility that I'm sharing the journey, and I hope by the end of it there will be something for everyone. And what I mean by that is that I hope some of you will feel that we share the same challenges and opportunities. So we're all on the same boat. Some of you think, oh, that's a good idea. I can do something with that back at work. And others will think that they are well ahead of the game and feel they must share with the rest of the world and make a contribution. So now on to I'll just put the slide deck up so that I'll just take you through the journey I'm going to go through with you. Excuse me just a second. So that is A2 Dominion. So just before I take you on the A to D journey, I just a bit more in way of introduction. So Crispin already did a good job in introducing A2 Dominion. My slides are not sliding. Okay, here we go. So A to D, all I want to say, as Crispin said, is a residential property group with a social purpose, and that effectively means we do profit for purpose. So the balance of profit from the commercial arm is reinvested in the social housing. As a business as well, and that's the only other thing that I want to say about the organization, we retain the offering of a wide range of products and services, which was not universal in the sector back in 2008, when the economic crisis brought about some critical business decisions that had to be made. Other than that, and as you'll see in the slide, we're a member of the G15 group. That is just to share with you, the G15 group is a group of the largest development associations operating in London. So they look at good practice, policy development, influencing housing direction nationally and locally, collaborating on policy development as well. A bit more about me. I have been with A2 Dominion for quite a while. I won't tell you how long, but it's quite a while. It was a small company then. It was my first real job in the field, in the sector, and in the UK for that matter. I didn't join an HR team because there wasn't one. When eventually the need emerged for an HR team, I was given a half-time job and then later a full-time job. So I've had a great ride. I'm on my 6th to 7th role within the organization and HR. I worked with many consultants, then managers, and then directors as the company grew and emerged. I've learned a great deal from all these people, but equally, I felt I was able to make a contribution. Good or bad remains to be told, but I like to think good because I think all the time it played to my strengths. It was always a journey. We had to start with a blank piece of paper and just get external input, get internal input, bring it together, contextualize, create, and engage with people. So it's been great journeys and then a great bonus arriving at the destination and then start all over again. I have loved it so far and I hope to be enjoying it in a few years' time still. So now to our journey. So it begins. So I'm going to start with the beginning and the end together. I think when you see that, and I'll leave you with that slide for a while, you will understand that you'll have seen that it's important to see the beginning and the end before I tell you the middle and how did we get from the beginning to the end of this particular journey. So while you take a look at some of the facts and the figures and see the upward trajectory between 2017 and 19, I'll share a bit of the business context. So by 2017, when we launched this survey, this particular survey, the organization had already decided on a multi-million investment in transformation. So the Fit for Future program was born. Technology-based program for sure, but knowing and acknowledging impact on people and ways of working. By 2017, the program had started to mobilize, and we did do what we said we would do. We started with the people readiness piece. And when we started before the survey, and even without the evidence presented here, when the results came, they confirmed that maybe we were not in such a great position to embark on a transformation. So what I mean by that is that, as you'll see in there, it wasn't great that going into innovation, transformation, communication was already a stumbling block, and leadership and ownership did not seem to feature as high priorities. So then the journey starts. And before I tell you a bit more about that, this is the start and you've got the finish line there, but this is for this particular version because the reality is that as one finishes, it then develops into another one. So we needed to look, we knew we needed to look at the leadership. If we wanted people readiness, the leadership is the first place we had to look at. So what we had, it was already great leaders really asking difficult questions of themselves, not scientific questions, but just honest questions and having honest answers. I.e., are we ready for this? Are we ready to lead, to innovate, to promote agility within the workforce, to promote innovation? Are we ready to be a less compliant organization? Are we ready for fast decision making? So of that was born the leadership program, which I'll take you through in more detail next. After the leadership program, so what next? As we know, any program, training program, is only the start of any movement. And it's the very start. To then embed and use it appropriately, it takes a lot more than just a training course. So the next step, we knew that it would be to embed the behaviors of which the leadership course was based on. So embed them in performance, make the what and the how an equitable part of performance. The next step was the engagement piece. So we'd always measured engagement, but there was that sense in the organization, why are we doing this? How much work is it giving us? We keep on producing reports about engagement. And what are we doing with it? And everyone seemed to point a finger at everyone else, i.e. it was everyone else's responsibility to take action on the results of surveys. So we clearly needed to join all this together and start the journey. So the leadership. We put on a leadership program we included about 200 plus managers. So from senior managers to junior managers, everyone went through the program. We had the pillars of the program, 5 key behaviors around future focus, around engagement, resilience in the organization, performance, engagement, and influencing. On the back of the program, we profiled all 200 managers. So we started having confirmation, even more confirmation of what we already knew. It was largely compliant leadership population. So what I mean by that, it was a makeup of people that like to cross their T's and dot their I's before any decision making. So the decision making was slow. We really had to change that going into transformation. Promoting agility, that was a key part of it. Corporate citizenship, that was another key part of it. Don't act as a director of your own department. Act as a corporate citizen. We're all in this together. We need to take the organization forward together. Promoting ownership, not just in managers, but in staff as well. So the future focus, another important bit of it. Look at what's possible. Look at what we can do. It's not what we can't do because we're limited or because we've always done it this way. It's what can we do. Communication at all levels within the organization. Communicate, so talk to people, appeal to people, don't transmit information, talk to people. So that was basically the pillars of the program. And as I said, we labored under no illusion that the program itself was only the start of a much bigger journey. So the next step for us was to look at performance and the way we assessed or evaluated performance. and what we evaluated, and how did we embed the behaviors in our performance in the day-to-day. So the emphasis that we wanted to place was on the leading self, and everyone having responsibility and having control over leading themselves. So, and then we made all the materials we had available to everyone, accessible to everyone in the organization. No excuses not to go and find out what does it take to lead yourself, to lead other people. The conversation started there. Then we took a step further, which was, so we had this thing about wanting, in particular, our senior teams to act as a group, work as a group, so as corporate citizens for the organization. So when we developed targets and introduced the how as an equitable part of the performance, we then took it a step further and introduced team targets, especially for the senior groups. We looked together with all the managers in the organization, our HRBPs, what does good look like? What does it mean to be a corporate citizen, for instance? What does it mean for us to act together as one group? And we did that, and we've embedded it in every single thing we do, whether it's performance, resourcing, just development. Everything is based around the key behaviors. So the next thing was, okay, so we've been measuring engagement. We've been doing this for a long time. It was largely perceived in the organization as something that HR did and the comms team did together. So it was done to the organization rather than a piece owned by the organization. This coincided with the time that my director then said, okay, we're moving engagement over to L&D and the L&D function. I thought, great. Let's do that, but looked at what we did and the way we did it, and obviously the obvious place to start is asking the questions, engaging with the organization and saying, what is this doing for us? Is this approach working? Is it not working? What is going on in the organization right now that we need to, what is it that we want to measure? What is it that we want to act upon? And definitely it wasn't a massive engagement survey, engagement for engagement's sake. It was really looking at the areas of the organization. So we're going to go through change and transformation. We've just been through a massive leadership program. We want to embed and make sure that the leadership program has the right impact. So we worked with many people in the organization to, one, define the approach. Yes, do we go from just one survey a year? Do we go to 2 pulse surveys, which is what we decided on? What do we measure? What do we want to measure? How are we going to act on it? The most important thing being that everyone went into this thinking, you know, we've all got responsibility for the results and to act on the results that we get. So the Your View survey came about. As I said, key thing about the Your View survey is that it was not just one more survey. It's giving people access quickly to results, empowering them, enabling them to take action, and making everyone feel that they had responsibility, but more importantly, they had the power to change things around. We did set out to measure key things. So throughout change, we really wanted to know what the impact of the leadership program was. We wanted to know what the general engagement of the organization was going through change. And we wanted to keep an eye on burnout and risk. And we were very transparent about all this. We said to people, yes, this is what we want to do. Are you with us? And everyone was. So if I went back now to the first slide that I showed you, that was what the journey, it paid dividends. It was all about doing simple things, asking honest questions, and trying to get the answer from everyone that it affected in one way or another. No secrets, no mysteries, just honest questions and listening to what people had to say. So the journey obviously has not ended, and it carries on. So we chose the period between 17 and 19, leading up to our bid to the award. After that, in the engagement space, we've done a few things other than your views. So we are Investors in People Accredited organization. And with the Investors in People accreditation comes, apart from the 3-year review, comes a 1-year review. So last year, we decided that instead of running another year review, we engaged with the Investors in People assessor to conduct an annual review focused on how we're managing change. So we ran focus groups instead of survey. It was just a series of focus groups, again, across all demographics in the organization. And then we ran another year review at the end of March, where I'm pleased to say the results stay pretty much the same. No dips, no more going up, but we remain pretty much the same, which is still good. Now, the future and continue to review, it's a constant journey. So as we go through our Fit for Future program, as HR are more and more enabled with technology, we are looking not just what the technology will be able to assist us with, but also we're looking at all the tools we've got right now, what we're doing with the data. Are we utilizing the data to its optimum? Are we maximizing everything we can do with the data? Are we duplicating effort? Are we aligning what we've got? Do we need to remove waste? And that's the journey we're doing right now. With a view to how can we make these? It's not just about the engagement, it's about the engagement and the performance. How do we make it easy for people to sign up to just the one story, one version of the truth? It's a whole journey. It's not an engagement journey. It's not a performance journey. It's not a leadership journey. It's one story. It's one journey together. And we're looking at ways of how we do that. And that's us. And that's the story. So I hope I've kept on time. I think pretty much have. So any questions, any information, feel free.
Sal, I've got one. Obviously, you've talked about a journey that started a few years back. We're all going through a particularly challenging time with the coronavirus changing the way we operate. What impact has that had on your organization, and how your leadership has responded, and how you continue to communicate effectively with employees?
So I have to say, this is, I normally joke saying this is transformation without preparation. So we've been preparing for this Fit for Future program for a long time, and this has landed on all of us, and we had to transform overnight. So the response has been great. So most of us are working from home. And it was overnight that we, like everyone else, what we hear, we've already conducted. So we conducted a survey. We had to transform everything. So all the digital platforms you can think, all of a sudden we had to use all of them. We couldn't wait for the technology to come through the future. We just had to make available communication platforms so that we are in contact. What we found already is that, generally speaking, in the organization, everyone is happy with the leaders and the leaders' response. So that means by making it possible for people to work from home, to make it flexible, make it around their working priorities, their personal life priorities as well, acknowledging that people have got families, dependents, people to look after, making sure that they had the work environment to work from. We did furlough people, but an absolute minimum amount of people. Most of them have now returned to work, and have not reopened the offices unless it's for people that strictly cannot work from home, or were not able to work from home at all for different reasons. But otherwise, the organization is working as usual. It's business as usual. I think, if anything, we're communicating more. Certainly, the teams are communicating a lot more between themselves. I think the next thing is to look about the other organization, because obviously we've lost that personal contact. You know, the people you bump into the kitchen and have a conversation with, the people you bump into in a meeting room, in the coffee station. So that's what we sort of working on. We've already run an event that sort of was organization-wide on a digital platform. We're looking to how can we run more of those, because we don't want to lose that sort of inter-team communication.
Excellent. You also said at the beginning of the journey, you had a very compliant management team, and that what you wanted to achieve was to take people through a behavior change that made them more agile.
Yeah.
Do you think if you hadn't carried out that investment in leadership learning, that the company would have reacted as swiftly as it did to the Corona challenge?
I think it helped a great deal. I think the leadership program, we definitely saw the return on investment in terms of agility, faster decision making. And then when the coronavirus came, I think because of the leading up and getting people ready for the future, I think helped us immensely, because we're not just talking about it anymore, we need to act. And people responded really well to that.
Excellent.
It's just extraordinary throughout the organization, whether it's within our care and support arm, where you've got personal care. We deliver personal care on a one-to-one with our customers, and that having to be sustained. So how we went about that, because, and probably one of the reasons we didn't furlough as many people as we could have done, is that there was a huge redeployment of people and skills. So then the other thing is around building sites or our viewings, and transforming that very quickly overnight. And there was one other that just escaped me that I was going to talk about. But there's some great examples around the organization, how quickly people just make things happen. I think I was talking to you earlier about us in learning and development. We've got some critical training that needs to be delivered. So things around fire safety training or the care certificate. And just overnight, again, we just had to put it on a digital platform and make it available online, where normally it is never heard of. It's face-to-face because it's hands-on training, and it just had to happen. And it happened, and successfully so far.
Excellent. I know that when we've had other sessions like today, a question that has come up is that if there's someone listening in who's wanting to embark on a leadership journey like yours, it usually requires you to get buy-in at the most senior level for the investment that it would take, both in time and effort and money. What was your secret to success in getting buy-in from the leadership team to this leadership transformation?
They came up with it. There's no secret to it. They were the ones to ask the honest questions and have honest answers. And when they looked at the size of the task ahead of them, they thought, maybe we need something else. We need a change. If anything, we need a change.
Okay.
And we need a bit more. So they came up with it. It's credit to them.
And final question, I think, before we will close today's summer series, is there's a lot of talk in the media and in businesses about this thing called the new normal. Let's hope we can return to some sense of normality quite soon, with an effective vaccine or whatever. But given that wonderful scenario, are there things that you've changed that you won't change back and that you would recommend other people adopting?
We're looking into that, but most of all, so we're looking at what has really worked, and we're asking our employees. So our second survey just went live yesterday, and we're asking those questions. So we're looking at what really is working, and working from home is really working for people, for the majority of people. They really appreciate that, the flexibility, not commuting, and the time it takes. And we're seeing, I think, more productivity. That's one thing. With the other thing, we're sort of waiting to see what people tell us. The majority of people tell us about what's really working for them, what they want to retain, and what we need to change, really. But I think most of all, we're waiting to hear from all our employees about what's really working. We think we know, but we need to be sure that we know what's really working.
So I think that's a great message to finish on, that if you want to be an inspiring workplace, the best place to start is to listen to your people, because they'll probably give you the right direction.
Absolutely.
So on behalf of everyone listening and everyone who tunes in after today to listen, I'd really like to thank you, Sal, for your presentation. It was really insightful, and I'm sure people are going to take away some great thoughts for how they help to transform their own organizations. So thank you very much.
Thank you.